Karen Reed jurors returned with questions about evidence. Verdict slip. Dedham, Massachusetts. The jury in the Karen Reed retrial returned with 3 questions for the judge Tuesday as deliberations in the high-profile murder trial continue. Reed, 45, of Mansfield, a former adjunct professor at Bentley University, has pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder and other charges in connection with the death of John O'Keefe, her boyfriend, and a Boston police officer. Prosecutors allege that Reed hit O'Keefe with her SUV during a snowstorm on January 29, 2022, following a night of drinking. Her first trial ended with a hung jury. Just before 11 a.m., the jury notified Judge Beverly Cannoni that it had 3 questions, which she read aloud in the courtroom. The jury was not present. What is the time frame for the OUI charge? Offense 002, Section 5. OUI at 12:45 a.m. or OUI at 5 a.m.? Cannoni read. The second, are video clips of Karen's interviews evidence? How can we consider them? And the third, does convicting guilty on a subcharge, example offense 2, number 5, convict the overall charge? Cannoni then heard from the defense and prosecution before the jury returned to the courtroom, and she answered the questions. For the first question, Cannoni told the jurors they had all the evidence they needed to arrive at a decision. For the second question, the judge said media clips are evidence, and jurors should give them whatever weight they choose. Regarding the third question, Cannoni said she amended the verdict slip to make it easier to follow. The jury was then sent back to resume deliberations. I think she followed the discussion that she previously had with Hank Brennan and Alan Jackson to a T. She clarified the questions in a way that might elucidate things for the jury. As a lay person, it is very confusing to sort of process these different lesser included offenses. I think she answered that fundamental question, though, which is if you convict on a lesser charge, is essentially a not guilty on the higher charges, Northeastern University law professor Daniel Medwed said. On Monday, the defense wanted to add not guilty boxes to the verdict slip next to each of the lesser offenses included in the second charge, vehicular manslaughter while under the influence of alcohol. Cannoni denied that request, saying that the verdict slip was consistent with Massachusetts law and would be viewed in conjunction with the jury instructions. Reed said she thought it was important that the slips did not follow the same format as the first trial. I think what happened last year with the same verdict form explains what happened, that the jurors themselves found it confusing, Reed said, and they said as much. So we just wanted to avoid that again. And apparently the court is not concerned. After the first trial, some jurors did say they were deadlocked on the vehicular manslaughter charge, but did not say why. Those jurors also said they were ready to find Reed not guilty of second-degree murder and leaving the scene of an accident. We wrote a motion to reconsider the verdict slip that was just denied without a hearing, Reed said outside the court. Meanwhile, Reed supporters gathered outside the courthouse, with many wearing pink, showing their unwavering support for the defendant. What to know about the case? Karen Reed, 45, of Mansfield, pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder and other charges. The prosecution says she hit her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, with her vehicle outside of a home in Canton during a snowstorm on January 29, 2022, following a night of drinking. The defense centered on allegations of a cover-up involving members of several law enforcement agencies. They say O'Keefe was beaten inside the home, bitten by a dog, and then left outside. Testimony in Reed's first trial began on April 29, 2024, following opening statements. It ended on July 1st when jurors reported being hopelessly deadlocked, and a mistrial was declared. Reed's team vowed to keep fighting, and her defense has waged a considerable battle across multiple courts, attempting to get charges dropped or have the case thrown out entirely. Meanwhile, a federal investigation into the case concluded without any charges being filed against police. Ultimately, jury selection for Reed's retrial began on April 1st and continued through April 15th. 18 jurors were selected, and 12 of them will deliberate on the verdicts. 7 of the deliberating jurors are women, and 5 are men. The 6 alternates were separated from a group. Thanks for staying informed with us. If you found this update helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a headline. From all of us here, stay sharp, stay safe, and we'll see you next time with more news from across the USA.